Welcome to part 3 in the Basic Energy Analysis series, Energy Performance Tracking. In the last video, we created a baseline model using calendar 2009 as the baseline period. Now we want to use that baseline model to see how well we did in 2010. From the utility bills, we know the actual consumption in 2010, but the weather was different from 2009, so how do the 2 years compare? Now that we have a baseline model, the process is actually quite simple. We plug the 2010 weather conditions, X, Y, and Z, into the baseline model to get an expected consumption value. This is what we should have expected to consume in 2010 if nothing except the weather had changed. That expected consumption is called the adjusted baseline. Why adjusted? Because we have taken the baseline model built on 2009 conditions, then adjusted it for the weather in 2010. Now we compare the adjusted baseline with the actual metered values. The difference between the adjusted baseline and the actual tells us how 2010 compared with 2009. If our actual consumption in 2010 is less than the calculation, we can congratulate ourselves on saving energy. If it is higher, then our consumption went up and we will likely want to look into causes. Either way, we now know how we did in 2010 because we have removed the influence of weather. This area chart shows a series of 12 performance comparisons, one for each calendar month of a single year. Rather than an area profile, the information can be shown as paired columns to highlight the point that there are 12 individual calculations in the profile. This is a common monthly energy performance report. We often report on calendar months for convenience, but there is no restriction on the reporting period. Suppose, for example, that we are only billed on a utility account every 3 months. We can still plug the weather for each 3-month period into the model and it would produce valid adjusted baseline values for each period. Similarly, we could have run one calculation for the entire year, arriving at a single adjusted baseline value to compare against a single actual consumption value. We can see here that the total actual consumption for 2010 is less than the adjusted baseline, so we've become a bit more efficient than we were in our base period, 2009. That concludes part 3 in this series. Thank you for watching. In the next part, we're going to deal with long-term trends, or comparing energy performance over several years.